I'm Counselor Dr. Yvette Chesson Gibson, the oldest daughter of the Honorable Joseph Jefferson Francis Chesson Sr., the late Minister of Justice of the Republic of Liberia and Attorney General. Joseph Chesson was the son of Emma and Joseph Chesson. Joseph and Emma called their son Joseph Jefferson Francis Chesson, Joseph for his father, and Jefferson Francis for the child's maternal grandfather, Jefferson Francis Bernard. To the family members, however, he was Boy Chesson. His parents and close relatives showered him with love, and he was loved by those around him. He was a graduate of the College of West Africa, of which he was very proud, and he graduated in 1943 from Liberia College, now called the University of Liberia, with his classmates who included Reginald Townsend and Frank Stewart. He graduated at American University Law School in Washington, D.C.
Before graduating, he was fortunate to meet two of his classmates who worked then with the George Advocate General Office of the USA, who persuaded him to work with them and promised to make him a citizen on sight. But Joseph Jefferson Francis Chesson Sr. decided that if he was good enough to work in the office of the Advocate General of the U.S., he felt that Liberia needed him. So he decided he would come home. 2 weeks upon his return to the Republic of Liberia, President William Ficanarak Shadrach Totman appointed Joseph Jefferson Francis Chesson Sr. Assistant Attorney General of Liberia and commissioned him that same year on the Liberian delegation with Dr. Joseph N. Tokpa to represent the Liberian government at the coronation of Queen Elizabeth II of Great Britain.
He was also Liberian delegate to Interpol and became the Vice President for Africa, International Police Organization.
Joseph F. Chesson was the most qualified person, I believe, at the time to become Minister of Justice. He was affectionately called Perry Mason. Perry Mason was the celebrated television American lawyer who never lost a case. And Joseph F. Chesson was a strong prosecutor, good defense attorney, very animated in the courtroom. People loved him very much, and I think that's how he gained that name. But in addition to that, he had the experience and the qualification, a learned lawyer, former dean of the law school of the University of Liberia.
Counselor Joseph Jefferson Francis Chesson was a highly skilled lawyer, known for his sharp analytical mind, exceptional advocacy skills, and unwavering commitment to justice. His proven ability to navigate complex legal issues, combined with strategic thinking and a relentless dedication to his client's interests, earned him the respect of his peers in and out of the courtroom. He was a determined advocate who fought tirelessly for his clients' rights, always upholding the highest of standards of integrity and professionalism. His persuasive abilities and results-driven approach made him a respected figure within the legal community. Someone whose sense of integrity and strategic vision set him apart as a true leader in the field.
In 1956, he was the dean of the first graduating class of the Louis Arthur Grimes School of Law, University of Liberia. A member of that class also was his wife, Catherine Leona Chesson, who was the only female in the class.
There were many students in that class. I recall it was Ephraim Smallwood, Peter Amos George, Ben Freeman, and his own sweetheart, Leona Tucker Chesson, who he had left in America to complete her studies, but he brought Yvette, who was just 2 years old, and Leonardo to Liberia with him when he returned.
First time I saw and met him was one Sunday afternoon. He visited us. Shortly upon his return from studies, he told us about his daughter. He called her name Yvette, his first child.
President Tubman made him the Director General of the National Sports Commission, which initiated the participation of Liberian sports team in international competitions, including the Olympics. He in turn became the Olympics vice chairman for the West African region.
When you witness Councillor Chesson in the court system, he was in his element, his natural environment. He loved the law. He loved justice. And he was a man who was committed to the task that he is confronted with.
When it came to his social life, he was the Grand Master of the United Brothers of Friendship, and he was also a member of the Masons. Something that he was quite proud of, his maintenance in his church. He was a member of the Trinity Cathedral Episcopal Church and served in so many capacities, starting from teacher all the way to becoming Sunday school superintendent. He was a dedicated public servant, an avid sportsman, loving and devoted father. He had 19 children. His children are Jeff Chesson Jr., Mozart, Leonardo, also known as Ahaj Aziz, Yvette, Shupilia, Rodney, Rochelle, Kema, Wilhelmina, Cora, Tos, Jeanette, Rudolph, Verlin, Jawa, Jefferson, Jackie, Vanetta, and Giselle. And he had 2 stepchildren, Geraldine Hammerberg Bass and William Hammerberg. As a family man, Chesson fostered several relatives as his own children: Bennu Jones, Charles Huffman, Kaifa Holder, and Wendell Chesson. Chesson was married twice. He had 2 wives. At the time of his death, he was still married to Florence Wilson.
Interestingly, one day in March 1980, I was summoned to the minister's office. My office was in the basement. And you ascend the stairs from the back and then walk towards the front and then go up to the minister's office. But as I walked towards the front, I noticed the minister was not upstairs in his office. He was actually in the front of the building on the sidewalk with many of the other junior staff, deputies, and assistant ministers. And they were actually taking photographs with him. And he said, "I've been asking everyone in the building to come and take photographs with me, and we couldn't find you. So can you come and take a photograph with me?" And that was 1 month before the military coup and 1 month before he was executed. And somehow it seemed very fortuitous.
"4:30 a.m., April 12, 1980, a soldier of the Armed Forces of Liberia knocked on the gate of the Attorney General, Councillor Joseph Jefferson Francis Chesson Sr. in La Paz, demanding to speak to his chief immediately. He requested to let the soldier in. When the soldier came in, Chesson asked, "Why are you here so soon?" "Chief, they have killed President William R. Talbot to the mansion. We must take you out of your house right away."
On the 11th of April 1980, I recall a few officials were milling around in the office of Minister of Justice the Minister of Justice like we normally did. Just stand around, talk about some of the things that happened during the day, and try to pitch some of your programs to see if you can get funding. I was trying to get funding to train corrections officers for the Palace of Correction that had just opened in January 1980. And Minister Chesson calmly said to all of us, "I know you need a lot, and we have a lot of work to do, but I can't review all your proposals today, but I'll look over it during the weekend, and on Monday, April 14, I'll let you know what I can do to help." Unfortunately, on April 12th, the early morning of April 12th, we learned that the government had been toppled. The president had been assassinated, and most of the government ministers had been arrested and imprisoned.
When he went, he passed Poor River. He passed the home of his favorite cousin, my mother, Cora Chesson Brown. And the soldier said to him, "Let's take you to the border." He proceeded, but when he got on the bridge to board waterside, Justice Attorney General Chesson heard on the radio that the government was requesting all former government officials to report to the executive mansion for their safety.
When the men turned themselves in, they also arrested some of their wives, and the wives were in the cell next to them. So one of the wives came out after she left the prison, and she called me, and she said, "Yvette, I have to tell you something." And this was before they were killed. And she said, "I need to let you know, your brother Chair Chipo came to the prison while we were there. And when he came, he went to your father's cell. And in the cell was Frank Talbot, Richard Henrys, J.T. Phillips, Townsend, and somebody else. Anyway, they were in the cell with my father." And she said that my father was at the back of the cell, standing up there when Chair Chipo came to the cell and started yelling, "Jeff Chesson, I want to see you. Come to the front. I need to talk to you." She said my father didn't move. He just stayed where he was. And the more Chair Chipo yelled, the more my father didn't even move. And he became so frustrated and angry. She said, till he turned to my father and said, "You wait and see. I'm going to have you killed. You're going to be killed. You will die." And my father then said to him, "You will take my body, but you will not take my soul." And Chair Chipo got so angry, he just got to turn around and walked off.
He always said, he kept his friends. He always said, "When I die," and he always played this song by Frank Sinatra. Regrets, I have a few, but then again, too few to mention. Sometimes I bit more than I could chew, but I spit it out and let it go. And I say, I did it my way.
We didn't know what was going on. So I turned to my driver and said, "Put on the radio so I can hear what's going on." They put the radio on, BBC was coming on, Focus on Africa. The first name they announced was my father because he was head of Interpol for Africa. And they announced that he had been killed. And I said, "Oh, okay." So we're driving by Antoinette Tutman Stadium, and we get down by BTC, the front gate. Outside the gate is an intern from my office. I was Assistant Minister for Posts and Telecommunications at the time. And she sees me and she starts yelling, "Oh, Mrs. Gibson, they just killed your father and 12 other men on the beach." And I said, "Okay, thank you. Get in the car. There's too much traffic. You won't get home to your children. Get in the car. We'll drop you in Cinco." So she looks at me very concerned and says to the driver, "I don't think she heard what I said. I don't think she understands." I said, "I understand, but there's nothing I can do for him. I can take you home." So she just tells the driver to go on and we leave. I come home, and at that time I had moved to my mother's house because she was alone and I was concerned about her safety. So I go to her and I say to her, "Mommy, I need to let you know they've just killed Daddy." And she looks at me and she said, "No, you of all his children would never tell me it like that." I said, "I'm telling you, they just killed him." April 22nd, for me, it hasn't changed. It continues to be a very painful day. That whole April sequence is so profound because my father was born April 20th. He got married April 21st and he died April 22nd.
Joseph J.F. Chesson Sr., Cousin Joe, your name and your legacy will live forever. You did it your way, Cousin Joe, and I know it is well with your soul.
When sorrows like sea billows roll, whatever my lot, thou hast taught me to say, it is well, it is well with my soul.